You're listening to the Geriatric Mamas Podcast with Jessica Raziri
and Sonia Tapley.
This is a coffeeless convos.
Convos. Right, exactly. I've got my sparkle water. We're good. So this sparkle water convos is going to be about a variety of topics, including a viral TikTok post about waiting rooms at the OBGYN offices, a new and hard-launched geriatric celebrity mama baby announcement, Crystal Anderson's passing after the stillbirth of her daughter, and Halle Berry's bout with perimenopause, aka sexy menopause.
That article, when I sent that to you, I was like, I could not stop laughing at it. I'm like, is this for real? I thought it was a joke at first. And then I'm just like, okay, this needs to be talked about. Woman calls for separate waiting rooms at OBGYN offices after she experiences pregnancy loss. People.com. A TikToker opening up about her experiences trying to conceive is getting honest about the accommodations those struggling should have access to. TikToker India Batson went viral on the platform earlier this month when she made a video making a recommendation to OBGYN offices, going on to propose a different waiting area if you're there for a miscarriage, an ectopic pregnancy, a ruptured ectopic pregnancy. If you're there for a loss, I'd like there to be a separate waiting room than the regular waiting room, because sitting in that waiting room next to tons of pregnant women while you wait to go back to get blood work to see if your HCG is back to zero sucks. Absolutely sucks. Speaking to People, she explains, I've experienced back-to-back pregnancy losses, and in September of last year, I had a ruptured ectopic pregnancy and had to be rushed into emergency surgery to remove my fallopian tube on the right side. Then a couple of months later, we began to try again, and we got pregnant in January of this year, and I had a miscarriage last month. India found that the woman in her life didn't open up about pregnancy loss until she discovered her own, despite it happening in 1 in 4 pregnancies. I think it's something that society has placed a stigma around. Women often experience guilt and shame. It's something we don't shine a light on. We don't speak about it, hiding in our homes and dealing with it alone, she explains. When returning to her OBGYN to check her blood work, India experienced a rush of emotion that I was not expecting from being back in the same room where I found out that my child passed away inside of me, she says. One day, I was sitting in the waiting room with my husband looking at the ultrasound photo of our baby. 2 weeks later, when I filmed that video in the waiting room, I was in the exact same room. This time, I'm alone and my husband no longer there. There is no longer an ultrasound photo in my hand. It's just the complete opposite experience, she continues, noting that being around pregnant peers made it sting that much more. I'm so happy for those women who are pregnant. I celebrate them, but sitting next to visibly pregnant women in the waiting room when you were there to follow up after pregnancy loss is mentally challenging, to say the least, she says. I feel like that is such a... I really wish. I know it's kind of hard. Obviously, not every doctor's office is equipped that way, but I feel like that needs to be a thing.
Yeah.
I would have personally really appreciated that, because that was kind of hard for me to read, because I was kind of mentally thinking about that experience. And I just remember having that same exact feeling. It's like, you're so happy for these women, of pregnancies. Right. It's beautiful. It's amazing. But when you're literally sitting there experiencing a loss and you keep feeling, it's just so heartbreaking. And then it's just to see it, it's just,
Yeah. I can only imagine. I mean, I think it's something that obviously they don't think about, and that's why they're not there, but it's such a valid point. Not sure how they would do it.
Or maybe if it's, I don't really know how to do it, but maybe if it could be something where if it's marked on your chart, what you're going in for, then maybe instead of having you wait in the waiting room, they can quickly bring you back to a different room, or bring you to a room that's not occupied just for a separate, and be or give you the option, would you prefer to wait over here? Do you want, you know what I mean? Yeah, I definitely think that should be handled with a little bit more grace than it currently is.
You're in the hospital, and you receive bad news and they pull you over into your own room, something like that. Yeah.
And I hate always referring back to our vet and like animals and stuff. But so our vet, they do this thing where if somebody, so when you go into the vet office, there's a candle, it's like a fake candle, but there's a little sign that says if the candle is flickering, it's please be like, try to watch your tone and try to like keep it down to a minimum. It means that there's somebody in the other room, like they have like a room where they put the dogs to sleep, you know, if they have to let a dog go. And so they have that candle burning to kind of let people know, like just try to keep it to a minimum. And then it's like in that separate room. And it's not, I'm not saying that you need to have like a candle burning in the front and make it a big thing, but like maybe just something like that same, like we do that kind of, we have that compassion for animals, you know, and it's like, why can't we have that same compassion for humans? Like, I feel like that's just something that is just such a, it's just such a missed. Yeah. It's, yeah. I don't know. When I read that, I was just like, yes, amen, please. Absolutely. I feel like that absolutely 1000% needs to be a thing for sure.
Right. I agree. I feel like, you know, the whole thing that she was mentioning about it being stigmatized and people not talking about it. I mean, people talk about it when their, you know, their dog dies, you know, and it's like, I feel like it's just all over Facebook. I see stuff every day of people losing their cat or losing their dog. And, you know, miscarriage is a huge loss and it's stigmatized, like she said. So I feel like this, if it becomes a thing, could actually like help a little bit. I think your idea is actually genius.
Or at least like, you know, if you like, because I understand like some doctors' offices, like the old OB I used to go to, it's a really small office. They don't have like a ton of rooms. And so it's like there's always people in like the waiting rooms. And so if it's a situation like that, then maybe just like try to plan like the with scheduling, like when you're going to have this particular person come in when there's not a lot of traffic, so a lot of people. So that way you can like put them, like quickly escort them to another room when they get in, or you know, just be a little bit more aware of it. Like in that moment, just a little bit of compassion goes a long way. Like I remember, and I don't know if you remember this, but I remember sitting in the fertility clinic and we had already had like, it was like after like the second or third failed IVF attempt. And somebody came in, she was pregnant and she had her like 2-year-old son with her. And my eyes just like filled up with tears because it's like in that moment, it just felt like, and it wasn't a personal attack on me, but in that moment, it just felt like the universe was like rubbing it in my face. And like, I remember texting you girls like, oh, it shouldn't be allowed to bring your kids to a fertility clinic waiting room. Do you remember me saying that? Like in that moment, it felt so like justified to say that. It felt like it was like an obvious thing. Not, you know, why would you bring your child to a fertility? Like how insensitive, you know, like, because in your mind in that moment, like to me, it was insensitive. And I wasn't thinking like, well, I mean, what if she didn't have childcare? What if like her, like she had, what are you talking about? She's going to the doctor's office. She's allowed to bring her child with her. Like it's so ridiculous, but it's like when you're in that mindset, like you're just, you're depressed. You're not thinking clearly. You're just so fragile and vulnerable and emotional and you're just going through so much. And so just the little bit of compassion in that moment of somebody saying like, hey, what do you want to come sit over here? Or if you would like, there is a room over here if you'd feel more comfortable. Like something like in that moment, I would have gladly grabbed my shit and like went and sat in that other room, you know, because I couldn't mentally see that and be around it. It killed me.
Right. No, definitely. There needs to be a little bit more empathy, compassion, and recognition for the reason why people are there, because they're vastly different a lot of the times. Good idea. So our next topic that we have is Cameron Diaz and Benji Madden welcomed their second child over the weekend. Celebrity moms love announcing surprise babies. Hello, Chrissy Teigen, Paris Hilton, and Halle Berry. And it's easy to see why. It's fun to shock the world by hard launching your new baby. And we definitely were shocked by the latest couple to drop their baby news, Cameron Diaz and Benji Madden. This star-studded duo was apparently always hoping for another baby to add to their family, and they finally got their wish. In case you missed it, the Good Charlotte rock star and Charlie's Angel star announced over the weekend that they welcomed baby boy named Cardinal. We are blessed and excited to announce the birth of our son, Cardinal Madden, Madden wrote on a joint post on Instagram. He is awesome, and we are all so happy he's here. He added, for the kids' safety and privacy, we won't be posting any pictures, but he's really cute. We're feeling blessed and grateful, sending much love from our family to yours. Best wishes and good afternoon. Diaz and Madden, who are also parents to daughter Radix, who's 4, had been wanting another baby, according to reports. They were always hoping for a second baby because they love being parents, an insider told People. For years, Cameron wanted to be a mom. She gets very emotional when she talks about the long journey to motherhood. She feels beyond lucky to now have 2 children. Now we are getting emotional because that's too sweet, said the reporter. This baby news seems to prove a July 2022 source right, who told US Weekly, Cameron and Benji have discussed having another child and have been looking into surrogate options for a while now. Benji always wanted to have a big family, and Cameron didn't need to be persuaded after the arrival of their daughter. So this article was by sheknows.com.
I love Cameron Diaz so much. I feel like, to me, she's always like, I always picture her, well, like Something About Mary, but then also what was the one?
Oh, The Holiday?
Well, yeah, but no, Holiday. But what was the one? Oh my god, Selma Blair was in it. Fuck, what show? Okay, I need to look this up. Not show, movie. Cameron Diaz.
When I was looking up articles on her new baby and everything too, like she was getting backlash from like so many people. Like she's gonna be 67 or something when the baby graduates from high school and all this stuff. And it's like, people just need to be happy. Like,
I know, just leave her alone.
She clearly had to go through hell to like, have these babies.
And she's like, has so much money, so she can literally make herself live forever. So it's fine.
That's true.
The sweetest thing. Yes. So the sweetest thing. That's so that's the camera that I picture. Like Cameron Diaz that I picture.
Yeah.
And then also like Something About Mary. So like, I don't know. To me, she'll always be that age.
Right.
You know, like some people just have that face that it's just like, you're never aging. This is always going to be you. You're always going to stay that age forever.
I've heard that way too. So when they said, I think, how old was she? Like 47 or something when she was pregnant with Radix, or not pregnant, but when she was expecting Radix, I was like, what? That's not even possible.
Yeah. So she's what, 54 now? Is that what they said?
Yeah, like 51 or something. I think it was 51.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that is like a hard pill to swallow, to think about, you know, the longevity part of it is like really, it's just not a fun thing to think about. But I mean, we've already talked about this. Like, I just feel like, you know, she takes care of herself from what I can see. Like, she's very healthy. She's going to outlive all of us, I feel. So I don't think you have to worry about it.
100%.
I feel like you gave me all the really like depressing ones to read.
I was trying to give you the first one, and then it ended up being, I was trying to like balance, like
do it like sad, happy. Like, so now to bring the mood down a bit, now for your daily downer. So this one's really devastating. Yeah. Crystal Anderson, former Kansas City Chiefs cheerleader, is dead at 40 after having a stillbirth. etonline.com. Chrissy Anderson, a former cheerleader for the Kansas City Chiefs, died on March 20th of sepsis following the stillbirth of her daughter, Charlotte Willow Anderson, at 21 weeks. She was 40. According to her obituary, the former cheerleader died unexpectedly on March 20th, shortly after she delivered her stillborn daughter. A GoFundMe set up in her honor says Anderson's fight with sepsis led to organ failure, and she was placed on life support and then underwent 3 surgeries, but the source of infection remained elusive. In the early hours of March 20th, surrounded by her devoted family, sweet Chrissy passed away. The tribute continued. Her radiant smile would light up the darkest room, and her sassy responses never failed to bring laughter and joy. She loved with her whole heart, leaving an imprint on everyone fortunate enough to know her. According to her obituary, Anderson worked as a yoga instructor and software engineer after cheering for the Chiefs from 2006 to 2011 and 2013 to 2016. While working as an engineer at Oracle Health, Anderson was awarded a patent for developing software that assesses the risk of postpartum hemorrhage. Crystal radiated joy and laughter to everyone she encountered, the obituary reads. She was passionate about philanthropy, working with big brothers and Big Sisters of KC, Gabriella's Little Library, and the First Hand Foundation. She fiercely advocated for Black women in STEM and women's health. In addition to daughter Charlotte, Anderson was preceded in death by son James Charles, who also died in infancy. Anderson is survived by her husband Clayton, parents Bertha and Burnett, BJ Johnson, brother Corey Johnson, grandmother Carrie Banks, and several other extended relatives and in-laws.